Welcome to another episode of Fred Speaks, where the hope is to inspire and motivate through spiritual content, topics, and conversation. I pray this podcast finds you in the best of health and spirits. Welcome, friends. This is Fred, the host of Fred Speaks. And I would like to get right into our topic for this episode, which is I'll be your therapist. And I know what you're thinking, like, really? But what I found out is that when we enter into relationships, we find ourselves being someone that you can talk to, someone that you can laugh with, someone you can share your sadness, your joys. And sometimes, and a lot of times, somebody you can even dump stuff on. Yeah, that really, really, really bad stuff. So when we're in a relationship, we're not just, this is your man or this is your woman or your boyfriend or girlfriend. But you find yourself being a therapist. And whether you sign up for it or not, it just happens. Before you know it, this person is laying on the couch and just pouring out all of their stuff on you. And it's not always the guys. A lot of times it's the woman that is on the receiving end of these things. But like I said, before you know it, they're on the couch and you're sitting there with your imaginary pen and paper and taking notes and waiting on opportunities to speak or to possibly give some type of advice, but most of the time it's just listening. And so then, although we don't expect to enter into a relationship where we are having to be someone's therapist, it happens. It happens. It's almost expected that whoever you enter into a relationship with is going to have some type of garbage, some type of past, some type of issue. And it's just a matter of time before it comes out. And I can remember so many. I don't even know where to begin. There's so many times where I almost expected it. And it was just a matter of when it was coming, when was it going to happen? Because I realized one thing: we all have been broken or dealt with something in our lives, and a lot of times we don't take the time to heal from those things, and we're quickly back into something with someone else. And of course, what we do is we bring that stuff along with us. And the good sign of a therapist is a therapist knows that when there's something that has changed based on the conversation, the body language, and if you're in a relationship with somebody, you pretty much can tell when there's something that's bothering them. Even when they don't say anything, you just know that something is off, something is wrong. But I just wonder how many people really go into a relationship saying, I'll be your therapist. Probably not many at all. But I think there are some people who understand that everybody's got issues. So there's nobody that is perfect. So therefore, when two people enter a relationship, each party has their share of issues and things that they've dealt with. And then it's just a matter of, did they face those things and deal with them and before entering into something new. But I hear people, I heard someone say that, I want you to be happy, but not at my expense. And I thought about that thing. Sometimes you can want people to be happy, but you end up suffering because you're trying to be the savior, the one that fixes all the issues and makes everything better. But in actuality, we really can't fix each other. We can't fix it's something that each individual has to first acknowledge that I got issues. I got a lot of things that I need to work on. And then that needs to be their task of dealing with those things. But we find ourselves a lot of times we're trying to coach, direct, and lead somebody to a direction that we feel they should go. But that, a lot of times people aren't ready for that, or they don't want that. And so that's why we end up in these situations where, we become to be a dumping ground for negativity. And it's not what we signed up for. It's not what we're saying that, hey, I want to be in your life and I want to be your dump. We didn't say that, but we find ourselves in that situation where, someone that is hurting and never dealt with the hurt, the pain, they have to release somehow. And so, although you didn't go to school to be a therapist or to be, someone's, dumping ground, when you enter into that relationship, it's kind of almost expected that now you're going to be my go-to, or when something is bothering me, you being my significant other, you should be ready and willing to accept whatever it is that I have to dump out. But I found out this is that in everything I tried to do in these situations, I found out that I couldn't fix anything. I could not fix anything. And the reason for that is because I am not a therapist. And I don't have the expertise or the ability to fix anyone, because I have my own struggles, my own pains and different things that I have to deal with. And that is a task within itself, is being able to deal with your own self, let alone trying to deal with someone else's stuff and trying to help them. Now, don't get me wrong. When you're in a relationship, you should be there for one another, but it shouldn't be to the point of where you become to be a dumping ground, and you could be having a great day and doing well, and then all of a sudden you get all of this stuff dumped on you. And sometimes it's out of the blue, like, and you're kind of like, wow, where did that come from? But as I mentioned, we all have something that we've dealt with, experienced, or went through. And it always, I have to go back to it, that it boils down to whether you dealt with those things and you made peace with it. But if you didn't, then it's just a matter of time when it's going to come up in your new relationship or your current relationship. Because we're human beings, and what's in your heart, it's going to come out. It's just when, but it's going to come out. Sometimes it comes out in anger, which basically throws people off, because it's like, man, what's wrong with them? But these things, if they're not dealt with, that's what happens. Then people start to explode on you. And you're like, dang, what did I do? But it's nothing that you did. It's just things that they're dealing with that they never faced it head on and said, I can't go forward until I get this right. But there is a therapist that is available, and he's available all the time, 24/7. He's available. But most people don't reach out to him, though. Most people would prefer to reach out to someone that they can feel, touch, whatever. But Jesus, he's a therapist indeed. Not only is he a good listener, but he is one that when you express what it is that you're dealing with, he knows the answer. He even knew the answer before you even asked or before you even stated anything. He knew what you needed. And so he's a good listener, and he also is more than capable of doing something about it. And that's where the limitation comes when you're, in a relationship with someone. Is it's not that they don't want to help you, but they just don't have the ability. Your issue is beyond them, and they can't do anything to fix it. And a lot of people, because they want to be happy and they don't want to be sad, they will go, by any means necessary, even if that means bringing someone else down that they may be able to climb up or move forward, because they're determined they want to make it, or they want to live, they want to be happy. So they do whatever they have to do to make that happen. But if I'm on the other end of that, I don't want you to be happy at my expense. So I make the sacrifice. I make the commitment to you that I'll be there. But all the time, it's just for you. It's just, using someone that you can feel good about yourself, and not really caring and being concerned about what it is you're doing and what effect that has on them. Because people can dump so much on you. They can dump so much on you, and it can be overwhelming, especially if it's a lot of negativity. It can be very overwhelming. But with Jesus, he's able to bear all of that. So much so that he said, in the scripture, cast all your cares upon me, for he cares. He cares so much about us that even when we're hurt and broken, and it seems like all these pieces of us, our life, is scattered everywhere, he loves us so much that he's able to put all the pieces back together. He's able to make us new, give us a new heart, a new mindset. Give us a forgiving heart that we can forgive those that despitefully use us, that we might be able to move forward. So he's a great therapist. And his prescriptions are always on time. They're always the best. Because he gives you good sized dosage of love and peace and joy. And people take it for granted that about peace, because it's so rare that you see people at peace. Everybody's in a turmoil. Everybody, lives are all jacked up. Even the ones that you look at and you like, man, that couple right there has got it together. 9 times out of 10 is jacked up. It's jacked up. But they put forth a good foot, or they, portray that they're happy and that everything is good. But we know that that's not realistic, because we all have issues. The thing is how we deal with them, and how, if we're in a relationship, how we handle those issues, those things that have come or been a part of a person for a very long time. But if we're looking for a therapist, he's available. And the thing I love about him is he can do something for you and you don't even know how it happened or when it happened. But he's able to work things out, whereas you can be sitting on a professional therapist's couch and pouring your heart out, and when it's all over, you still have no resolution. But he believes in giving results that people can say, I know. I tried everything else. I reached out to this person and that person, and none of it could help. But here is Jesus that was able to deliver me. He's able to make everything all right. And I don't know about you, but that's what I need. I need a therapist that, no matter what my situation is, he's able to fix it. And so then we ought to really, before we enter into a relationship, we need to really look at ourselves and ask the question, do I need a therapist? And if you're being honest, most of us will have to say yes, because we got issues. I don't care how we dress up and how we look on the outside and appear to people. We all got issues. But he's saying to us, I'll be your therapist. I'll make everything all right. I'll make sure that when I'm done with you, and session after session with me, you will find yourself being able to lift up your head. You'll find yourself being able to move forward. You'll find yourself having peace where you thought it was running from you. It was distant from you. But you'll be able to have peace by having sessions with him that is able to make everything all right. So I would like to say that the therapy that we need is not so much with our appearance, what we look like, where we work. The therapy we need has everything to do with our hearts and the content of our hearts, because everything stems from the heart. Everything comes from the heart. And if we have issues in our heart, we can only produce what we have. But he is saying his arms are wide open. And he's saying, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden. And he said, I'll give you rest. He is the therapist that is able to make it all right. If you're hearing this message, you've listened to our new episode all the way to the end. And for that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I would like to encourage you to share this podcast and give a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever platform you use to listen to Fred Speaks. Thanks.